Hello and welcome to the 61st episode of the Sock Bunny Knit and Fit video podcast. My name is Kimberly, also known as Sock Bunny, and today is Saturday, November 10th, 2012. I'm recording in sunny Florida in the United States of America. It's a very beautiful sunny day out. The sun does keep playing hide and seek again today, though, so the lighting might change during the podcast again. I am Sock Bunny pretty much everywhere on the internet. I am on Ravelry, Plurk, Instagram, Google+, iTunes, YouTube, Blip TV, and even on Twitter. I haven't mentioned it before because I wasn't really going on Twitter very often, but I've been going on it more often recently. So if you would like to follow me on Twitter, my name is Sock Bunny. The blog is at sockbunnyknitandfit.blogspot.com. The email address is sockbunnyknitandfit@gmail.com. And my Etsy shop is at sockbunnystudios.etsy.com, where you will find hand-dyed yarn and fiber. I do have podcast buttons if you would like one. They are $2, and you can send me the money either via PayPal or snail mail. Whoops, I'm trying to get to focus here. I guess it's as good as it's going to get today. You can send me the money via PayPal for, at the address is sockrabbit@gmail.com. And, or you can send it to me snail mail. Just ask me for my address and I'll give it to you. And the profits from selling the buttons helps pay for postage and prizes and stuff like that. And thank you to everybody who has asked for a button. It really makes me smile that you guys want one of my buttons. Let's see. I know there are several people in the welcome thread that I haven't welcomed yet, so I don't want you to think that I'm ignoring you. I just haven't gotten to that yet, so hopefully I will be able to do that this week. I did do quite a bit of dyeing over the last couple of weeks. And I am going to try doing weekly shop updates on Sunday evenings. I'm going to try starting this Sunday, even if it's only a couple of things. Starting off anyway, I'm going to have a weekly update on Sunday evenings at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And I do have a few things that I dyed while Sarah was home that I will show you in the Look What I Made section. Let's see. Tian, who is Knit Designs on Ravelry, she is the one who gave away the crocheted shawl pattern last week. She said that she is having a coupon code for her patterns. Sorry. She's having a coupon code for her patterns, and I'm assuming this is a Ravelry coupon code. I'm sure it is. So anyway, it's a Ravelry coupon code. And I will link to it on the blog, and also I will link to it to her shop, to her Ravelry shop. Oh my gosh, my mind just went totally blank. Okay, I will link to it in the usual places, in the Ravelry thread and on the blog. There we go. But for your information, her name on Ravelry is Knit Designs, and the coupon code is 2020. November, NOV 2012. So it's 20NOV2012. And like I said, I'll link it in the on Ravelry and on the blog. So if you watched last week's episode, you will know that we flew Sarah in to surprise Joe for his 50th birthday, and he had no idea that she was coming. Rachel and I have been planning this for months, and so Friday, Rachel and I went to the airport. Joe came home from work. We left before he got home from work. And we went to the airport. We picked up Sarah. And when we got home, Sarah walked in the door. And I unfortunately didn't get to see his face when he first saw her. But he was standing in the kitchen. And she just walked into the living room. We have a bar separating the two rooms. And she just walked in and said, "Hi, Daddy." And he just started laughing so hard. And I have a picture of him laughing really hard, and I will insert it at the end of the podcast. In fact, let me make a note of that, otherwise I will completely forget. So anyway, he was laughing really hard, and just very, very happy to see her. Like I said, she's a daddy's girl, so it was really, really fun. And we had just a really nice time of family time together. We weren't rushing around or all that kind of stuff. We just pretty much went with the flow. She was home. She got home on Friday and she left on Wednesday evening. She did ask me to teach her to crochet. She already knows how to knit, and she's actually, she took to it pretty easily. She's not really an adventurous knitter. She's more of a practical knitter. And so she asked me to teach her to crochet because she wanted to make cushions for the seats in her classroom at school. So I taught her to crochet, and she just kept saying over and over how much faster it was than knitting. And I think she definitely likes the crochet better. At least, well, it's always good to know both. That way, each has its own use, So anyway, so she was very excited about that. And I had some acrylic yarn laying around that she really liked. So I let her have that. And she has a bunch of yarn at her school that you guys have donated to them and stuff like that. So she also wanted to learn how to dye yarn, and I was more than happy to teach her how to do that. So I will show you when I get to the Look What I Made section. I will show you some of the yarn that she helped me dye. She really loved it. She kept saying how much fun it was. On Saturday, we went as a family to do early voting for the election, and it was Sarah and Rachel. It was both of them, their first time voting, so they were really excited about it. And of course, Joe and I were joking that whoever they voted for, we were going to vote for the opposite just to cancel them out. We were just giving them a hard time. That's what we do, Let's see. On Joe's actual birthday, which was Tuesday, election day, we went bowling. And that was really fun. I didn't bowl, though, because I broke my arm one time. And ever since then, if I bowl, it actually hurts my arm for, days afterwards. So it's just not worth it. Before that, though, we stopped at the AT&T store, and Joe got a smartphone. He got a Windows smartphone, which is about as smart as he can handle. He is not technologically inclined. And he was in that store for an hour and 11 minutes. Because he asked so many questions and blah, blah, blah. I sat up in the car and knit. I did have to go in one time because they were making a change to the account, which is under my name. So I did have to go in for that, But he's very happy with his new phone. So if you have a Windows phone and you have any suggestions for apps that you think he would like, please do let me know. So that's it. I do have one more thing I want to say before I get into the actual heart of the podcast. And if you've been a long-time viewer, you know that we had 2 greyhounds, and our greyhound Janie passed away back in September. And Janie was always... Out of the 2, we had Janie, who was a girl, and we have Bandit, who is a boy. We still have Bandit. Out of the 2, she was the aggressive one, the alpha dog. She barked, which greyhounds normally do not bark. So after she died, Bandit for a week didn't eat, and then he started gradually, getting back to normal. Well, this past week, he has just, he's come out of his shell. It's crazy. He even has started barking at us. When he wants a treat and I don't get up fast enough, he barks at me. Well, Bandit has not, we've had him for 7 years and he's never barked. He keeps surprising me. So we were joking this morning that he's channeling Janie's ghost. He's a silly dog. I mean, just the last few days, he started barking at us, and we're like, where is this coming from? It's almost like she was so bossy before that he didn't have a chance to express himself, and now that she's gone, he's like, oh, I could be free and do whatever I want. And it's so funny because before, they have 2 beds in the living room, and she used to steal his bed a lot, and she would sleep across both beds so that he wouldn't have one. I told you she was a witch, right? So anyway, so now he has both beds and he lays across them. It's so awesome. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's so silly. So he is finally out of his Janie funk and has just really been blossoming. It's just very, very funny to see. He's 11 years old, so this change of behavior is quite unexpected. So anyway, I just thought I would share that with you. So what are we going to talk about today? Today's topics are fitness, finished objects, works in progress, knit and crochet alongs, look what I made, stash enhancement, tips and tricks, favorite things, what I am watching and reading, and charity. So, fitness. We do have a fitness along going on in the Sock Bunny Knit and Fit Ravelry group. If you work out any day at least 30 consecutive minutes, you can post it in the thread. Put each day's workouts in a separate post. And at the beginning of the month, I will close the previous month's thread, and the winner will get to choose either a $5 giftable Ravelry pattern or some bare yarn or fiber that I will dye in up to 3 colors of your choice. So, I've noticed a lot more people have been participating in that, so that is awesome. You guys keep up the good work. I did not work out at all while Sarah was home, except if you count shopping. And Sarah is such a picky shopper. She can go to 12 stores and not buy anything because she's so picky. So the good news is I get a lot of knitting done because I can knit and walk at the same time. So I did get exercise. It just wasn't officially sanctioned exercise, if you know what I mean. All right, so what are my finished objects? Before I show all my knitting, I want to say that I am taking part in the crazy, or what is your crazy knit along that is being hosted by the Fat Squirrel Speaks and the Stockinette Zombies. They are having a co-knit along. And basically what you're supposed to do is whatever your crazy would be. Like if you are a monogamous knitter, you should knit a lot of different things. Or if you're like me and you always have 20 projects going, you work on one project at a time. And I've been doing this since November 1st, and it is driving me crazy. But I think it's good to stretch yourself. And, you know, walk a mile in the other man's shoes and so forth, you know, and who knows, I might end up deciding I like this. I seriously doubt that, but you never know. So I've been very faithful to my knitting, and I have finished a few things. So first thing I finished was my TGV shawl. And this is one of those, it's a shawlette. And the lighting is not showing the color very well. This is a sparkly yarn that I dyed. And it's the kind of shawl where you knit until you've used half your yarn, and then you start the border. And you can see it's got a ruffle border. And I haven't blocked it or woven in the ends yet. It's really comfortable though. And I like how it lies. And I kettle dyed this yarn. And I have realized that I really need to get a shawl pin because I don't have one, and it would be really nice to have a shawl pin with this. So I really like how it turned out, and this yarn is super squishy and soft and awesome. And also you can wear it, you know, your usual, wear it like in the front. Okay, you get the general idea. So I really like it. I'm very happy. I will definitely knit this pattern again. I can't remember who wrote the pattern. TGV. Somebody famous. So I'm very happy with that. And I haven't blocked it yet. I haven't decided if I'm going to. I really like, I mean, it's garter, so it's pretty springy, and, you know, I like it how it is. So I probably will not block it. I'm very much enjoying how it is. So that is my first finished object. The second one, I finished the crocheted scarf, except for weaving in the ends. I finished the red crocheted scarf for the Red Scarf Project for the Knit Nerd podcast, and it's just a pattern. I made it myself. I talked about it on last week's show, and I really like it. It's definitely going to be worn. I did crochet a border around the edge because it just made it look nicer. And what yarn did I use? I should put these things in my show notes. My brain's just not working today. I apologize for that. Okay. But I do create projects for these things on Ravelry if you're curious about what yarn I used. And then last but not least, I did a little tiny ornament. Now, this is for the Christmas stocking ornament swap for the Knitting Den podcast. And we don't know who our partners are, but if you don't want to know what I made, in case you're my partner, close your eyes for a couple of minutes. But I made this cute little ornament. I'm not going to say what it is in case the person has their eyes closed. It is Fair and the pattern is in my Ravelry projects. So it's a cute little ornament. I think I might crochet a little loop to hang it from. Or actually, I'll probably just put a piece of ribbon in there. The colors are not quite showing up correctly today. And this is some sparkly yarn. I can't remember whose yarn it is, though. Something I got at Joann's. It's turquoise, red, and blue. So, okay, you can open your eyes again if you had them closed. So that's for the ornament swap for the Knitting Den. I'm also making a handmade stocking, and I already got the goodies to go in there. That's the hardest part for me, but I found something really adorable that I am going to put in there. So that actually, I could probably mail that out. If I can get the stocking done, I can mail that out sometime next week. Okay, so works in progress are only two. I have a work in progress, that's my main thing, because remember, I'm trying to be monogamous. But then I do have a pair of socks for when I'm out and shopping and all that kind of stuff, because my main project is a sweater and it's not really portable. So let me show you first the socks. And the socks are actually in the bag that was made for me by Flibberty Gibbet Bunny. It's Gayla. She gave it to me when she was in town. I love it. It's perfect for socks. It's got a magnetic closure, and you can see it opens up, and a sock fits in there perfectly. This is some yarn, some Knit Picks Bear yarn that I dyed in black and gold for Steelers. My husband's Aunt Mary loves the Steelers. She actually lives in Pittsburgh, so I am making her a pair of Steelers footies. So this is the top of the cuff, and I have done the heel flap, the heel turn, and picked up the gusset stitches. So that is where I am, and I work on this when I'm out of the house. So out of the house project, and then an in the house project, which is a sweater for my daughter Sarah. She is 20. She lives in Rhode Island. She's going to college to be a Catholic missionary. And she asked me to make her a sweater, which is a huge deal because, you know, she's been mocking my knitting for a long time. And now she's finally a knitter and crocheter. So she went online and looked at several sites, and she found a sweater that she likes on the Knit Picks website. It's the Dania sweater by Amber Allison. Here's a picture. It's very preppy looking. And you can see that it's a solid gray, but then the sleeves have a lighter gray, a red, and a black. And Sarah at first couldn't decide what she liked, but she did finally, she went with everything that the designer had chosen except for the red. She did change the red. So the yarns that I am using for the sweater, it's Knit Picks Wool of the Andes. It's a decent yarn, but I am not enjoying knitting with it. I feel like when I'm knitting with it, the moisture is being sucked out of my hands. It's sort of scratchy. It's very cheap though. It's not superwash, but Sarah hand washes all her stuff anyway, so like sweaters and stuff, so she knows how to take care of it. So this is Wool of the Andes in Cobblestone Heather. She loves it. If it was for me, I would not make a sweater out of this yarn just because of the itchiness factor. But, you know, she loves it. She picked it. She's happy with it. She's going to have a shirt on under it. It's not like it's going to be up against her skin. But knitting with it, I would not choose to knit with it again. Maybe for a hat or something, but a sweater, no. Like I said, it just really makes my hands feel funny. But luckily, I use Wolf Farms lotion. And that helps with the itchiness. So she chose, that was the main color that the designer had used, was Cobblestone Heather, and then also black, which is black, and then Dove Heather. This is the original color that the designer had used for the light gray section. And then the red, the designer had used Cranberry, but Sarah liked the Garnet Heather, which I have to agree, I really like. This is very, very pretty. Whoops, I have a piece of fuzz. And since the other ones are heathers, it's really nice that this is a heather. I had bought a ball of the cranberry just in case, so she could pick them live and in person. So I did knit a little bookmark / swatch for her in the 4 colors so that she could take it back up and show her friends. So, and one of her friends has asked for me to knit a sweater for her, and I told her if she got her parents or somebody to buy the yarn, whoops, then I would knit the sweater for her. So, let's see. I am knitting these on Knitter's Pride Dreams, and I'm using a size 7, and what you know, the size 7, their needles are different colors. Their 7 is gray. So I'm knitting gray on gray. But, and of course I'm in the middle of a row. This is knit from the top down. Let's see if I can relatively get it organized here. It's just a big mess right now. It's knit from the top down. This is the collar. And then this is the part that will be the button band in the front right here. It's just a mess right now. It's hard to show. I am just a few rows away. Let me try to unravel this. A few rows away from splitting for the sleeves, I believe what they call it. This is only my 3rd sweater. And my first 2 were knit from the bottom up. And one of them was actually a tank top, so I really like it. I like the color. I would not knit it for me, of course, because gray with the gray hair. I like it. I like the feel of it once it's knit, but knitting with it, like I said, I would not choose to knit with it. It's funny because I was watching Retro Lemon Studios a few days ago, and she was talking about how much she loves this yarn for knitting toys. So, to each their own. Maybe for us, like I said, for a small project, it wouldn't be so bad. But I'm going to be using like 9 or 10 balls of this. I'm on the 3rd ball. So, the things we do for love, right? And I have intentions of finishing this. Well, I will finish it way before then because it's the only thing I can work on, right? But Rachel, my 18-year-old daughter, and I are going to be driving up to Rhode Island to see Sarah at the end of December. So I'll be giving it to her then. Although, if I finish it like way before then, I may go ahead and mail it to her so she'll have it to wear. We'll just have to see. I expect to make great progress on it this week since I can't work on anything else, so it's done. Now, that being said, I am in a swap with the Caffeinated Knitting Podcast, Daniela, Caffeinated Gert, for a BFF cowl. And with that, what you do is you knit a cowl. Well, you knit half a cowl, and then you mail it to your partner, and then they knit half a cowl, and they mail it to you, and then you knit your half, and you graft the 2 together. So I did order the yarn for that. I ordered it from the Loopy U. When it comes, I'm going to put the sweater on hold, knit my partner's half of the cowl, so I can get that swap package out, and then I'll pick the sweater back up. So the sweater will take a short break, but at least I'll be monogamous to the cowl until I finish it, and then I'll pick the sweater back up. And then, after that, I am going to be casting on the, well, maybe by then, it'll probably be December, and in December and January, I'm having to co-knit along with Denise from the Knitting Den, and we're knitting variegated socks. That shouldn't take too long to knit a pair of socks. And then, I'm going to be knitting on some color work mittens for the Knitting Blooms podcast, Tina. And that's going to run November 1st through December 31st. So conceivably, between now and the end of the year, the least I will be finishing is the sweater, the cowl, the socks, and the mittens. And then anything else that gets done is gravy. I should definitely be able to do all that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to show you the stuff that I dyed, and some of it I dyed while Sarah was home, so I'll show you the skeins that she helped me with. She did dye a purple skein of yarn for herself, which is the same sparkly base as this red, but she dyed it purple, and she's going to knit a scarf for herself. And then also she dyed a variegated colorway for her best friend up there, Nicole, and she dyed that for her as a birthday present. So, without further ado, I'm going to go through these really fast. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. They will be up in the shop on Sunday. If I can get pictures taken between now and then. If it's raining tomorrow, but hopefully the sun, I don't think it's forecasted to rain, so it's hard to take pictures this time of year because the lighting is just so iffy. So I'm going to go through these really fast and show you them. If you see anything that you like and you want me to reserve it, just let me know, and I can definitely do that. Okay, so really fast. I did dye some fiber. This is some Falkland fiber. This colorway is called Timberland. It's a pretty accurate color. It's like a forest green and some rust color and some mustard, not really mustardy, but sort of a light green color. And that is Falkland. There's 2 braids of that. I also dyed 2 braids of, I can't remember if this is BFL or Falkland. I'll have to look it up because I didn't write on the labels yet. But this is a chartreuse colorway that I'm actually calling Poison. And it's just a kettle dyed. Actually, that shows the color pretty well right there. So there's 2 braids of that. And then I dyed a braid that I am calling 80s Fashion. This yarn will glow under black light. These 3 colors of dye that I ordered, it's an orange, fuchsia, and a yellow. And so I'm calling this 80s Fashion. And yesterday I dyed a bunch, and I dyed some yarn in this same colorway, which I'll show on next week's episode. So I'm in love with that. I did dye 2, but one's for me. And then I did dye some yarn. I'll show you the yarn Sarah helped with first. This is a colorway that Sarah designed. She picked out the colors and we dyed it. And we're calling it Razzberry, R-A-Z-Z-B-E-R-R-Y. This is a variegated yarn. And then she designed this one, which is a teal and a gray, a silverish gray. I should at least put John John's picture up right? And this colorway, these are sparkly yarns, by the way, sparkle base. So this one I am calling Preppy. It's on the sparkle base. Let's see if I can get the sparkles to show. So this one's called Preppy. This one's called Razzberry. And then I did 3 skeins of a color that I'm calling Winter Wonderland. I dyed these a different way. This one I dyed by dripping the dye onto the fiber, onto the yarn. These 2 I kettle dyed in a big pot of water. So you can see that they're similar, but not exactly the same. This one I might, if nobody buys it before I do my color work mittens, I will probably do my color work mittens in this colorway. But this is like a mauve and a gray that was kettle dyed. And I really like how this turned out. And that's on the sparkly yarn also. I dyed 2 skeins of this brown that I'm calling Cuddle Bear. It's on the sparkly base also. So there's 2 skeins of that. And then last but not least, I have something I'm calling Christmas Flower. And it's the color of dye that I use is called Poinsettia. So it's actually not showing up at all correctly on the screen. It's more of a bluish red. So there's 1 skein of that. And this was kettle dyed also. So there you go. These will be in the shop tomorrow night. Again, if I can get pictures, which I should be able to. Let me put that all in there. And the shop is at sockbunnystudios.etsy.com. And I am including a podcaster button with every order. And candy. Okay, now, for stash enhancement, you know I love a good contest, right? If you've been watching for a while, I enter contests like it's my job. And so, The place where I bought my Ladybug spinning wheel is called Copper Moose, and they are at coppermoose.com. And on Ravelry, they have a Ravelry group, and they have a thread every 2 months. Anything that you have created using something you bought for them. So, like, say I bought fiber from them, and did something with it, I could enter that. Well, I bought my Ladybug wheel from them, so anything I spin on my Ladybug, no matter where I bought it, I can enter it in the monthly, every 2 months drawing. So for September, October, long story short, I was the person who won, and I won 8 ounces of baby alpaca. I didn't get to choose. He sent what he wanted to send, which I'm very happy with. So here it is. 8 ounces of baby alpaca. Let me show the thing there. Coppermoose.com. And this is the softest thing on the entire planet. It is so, so, so soft. I wish you could feel it. I am in love with this. So this is going to be a very special project. I don't know what yet, but it is, oh, I can't wait to spin this. It's going to be a dream to spin. I haven't done any spinning in the last few weeks, so I need to get back to that. So that, again, was from coppermoose.com. I also have a pattern to show. Heather from the Fiberista Files, she just released a new sock pattern, and she has a coupon code. If you watched her last episode, she gave out a coupon code so you could get her sock pattern for free. Otherwise, it's $3, and it's called Don't Cage Me In. Let's see if I can show a good picture here. There we go. And, of course, the colors are not showing very well, but it's a sort of like a lattice type pattern. And this is the pattern I'm going to be knitting for my variegated sock knit along, which starts December 1st. So thank you, Heather, for the awesome pattern. And like I said, if you want this pattern for free, go view her last episode, which I think was episode 99, but don't hold me to that. Actually, I should link to this. I will put a link to it. I'll write that down. I will link to her podcast. I will link to her podcast in the 2 usual spots on the blog and in the Ravelry group. Okay, and then you might have noticed I'm wearing a different necklace. The necklace that I always wear it. I mean, I think in the over a year I've been podcasting, I don't think I've worn any other necklace on the show. But I had to switch it out today. I got this from a viewer who is Vippy Fufalina. I love saying that, Sabrina. And she made this. And I'm going to show you her card when I get to the charity section because, actually, no, you know what? I'll show it now. Because she sent some scarves for the homeless shelter, but I will show you her business information. I haven't had a chance. I just actually opened this today, but this is her business site information. StephanieKalinoff.com. One-of-a-kind glass jewelry. I haven't had a chance to check it out, but I bet it's awesome because this pendant is awesome. It's not showing up very good in this light, but it's lime green and orange and blue, and then it's got pink, and it is glass and lovely, and I love it to pieces. So thank you so much, Sabrina. She also made a handmade card, which the little butterfly thing fell off of it, so I'm going to glue it back on. There was a little oopsie, there's a little butterfly decal. The mailman was probably mean to it. There we go. And she wrote a very cute little note inside. And she also sent me a postcard from Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah. Really lovely. So thank you so much, Sabrina. And when we get to the charity section, which is coming up very shortly, I will show you the scarves that she sent. And last but not least, I also just opened this today, from Lisa, who is LAS Knit 2. She sent $2 so I would send her a podcast button. And she also sent this amazing little skein from Koigu, which is Koigu KPPPM, which I know stands for Knitters Painted something, something, something. And I have never actually seen this brand of wool or yarn in real life, and it is very, very squishy and soft, and I love the colors. So thank you, Lisa, very much for that. That was not necessarily necessary, but definitely appreciated. I love the orange, how the orange is popping up there. Awesome. Okay, so now we're on to tips and tricks. I jumped on the bandwagon. Several podcasters have mentioned that they use a new app, well, I think it's new, called Downcast to keep track of their podcast. And it's, I believe, from what I have understood, that it might only work on Apple products. I could be wrong about that. But I've been using it to, normally when I watch podcasts, I do one of two things. My first option I like to do is go and watch the podcast on their blog, because a lot of podcasters have commercials, and if you see a commercial on a podcast, that means that that person's probably getting like a penny or 3 pennies for you viewing that commercial, and it does add up. In fact, in the over a year I've been podcasting, I've made almost $25. Hey, that's a skein of yarn, people. So if I have the choice, I go and watch it on their podcast. On their blog. My second option for video podcast is I will go and download it in iTunes and watch it on iTunes. But now what I'm doing is, if I'm not near the computer, I've been using this Downcast app, and basically what it does is very similar to iTunes, where it will let you know which podcasts are available, but you don't have to download them. With iTunes, you download them and then you can watch them. With Downcast, you can actually stream it or download it. So since I'm at home and I have Wi-Fi, instead of downloading the podcast, I can stream it from the internet and watch it as it streams. So I'm really, really liking it. I've been using it, I guess about a little bit over a week. It does audio podcasts and video podcasts, and you can search, and it searches on iTunes for them for you. Some awesome things that I like about it is that you can mark some podcasts as a higher priority. Like, say you have a favorite podcast called Sock Bunny Knit and Fit, and you want to watch it first when it comes out, no matter what other podcasts you have. So you can mark it as a high priority or a higher priority than the others, and it will go automatically to the top of the list. Thank you. I'm totally joking. And then you can also create playlists, and what Tina from Knitting Bloom says that she has a priority playlist where her very favorite podcasts go in there. So you could have a favorite playlist and put me on the top of that. And also, I have a separate, how I do mine is I just have a playlist for audio and a playlist for video. So if I'm at home, I mostly do video, and away from home, I mostly do audio. Like if I'm in the car or shopping. Like, let me tell you, if you're grocery shopping and you can listen to a podcast, it makes grocery shopping so much more enjoyable. I also like to listen to podcasts when I go to IKEA, which I might be going to later today, either today or tomorrow, because I need to get a drawing rack because I've been dyeing so much that the whole house is covered in yarn and fiber. So, let's see, what else do I like about it? This week I was able, while Sarah was home, 0 podcasts got listened to or watched. And I'm already behind. I just made it even worse. So this week, since Sarah left, I've been just keeping my iPod in my pocket. My iPhone in my pocket and listening to the podcasters, and when they say this is blah blah blah, then I take it out of my pocket and I look at what they're showing, and then I move on. And so I've been able to actually get a lot more podcasts in during the day while I'm up and doing things instead of being tied to the computer. So that's very nice for me, because my iPhone only has 8 gigabytes, and that's not enough to download very much onto it. But if I'm going to the gym, I could use my 3G, but what I've been doing is I download a podcast or two to listen to or watch while I'm working out. So you do have the option to download them if you want to. I think that's all I wanted to say about that. So again, it's called Downcast. I think it was $1.99 in the iTunes store. Again, I don't know if it's available on any other platforms yet, but if it's not, you should definitely send them a note and tell them you want it because it is awesome. Very, very worth the $2. Okay, let's move on to favorite things. Okay, my favorite thing in the whole world, who we all know as a person, is my bunny John John. He's the star of the show, really. I know I am not. And he is my avatar. And I got him when I was little. My grandmother gave him to me in Christmas of, I think it was 1975. And he's made out of fabric. And he got really, really, really faded over the years. And then in 2003, I found the fabric on eBay and was able to give him a new body, basically. And I took his old body and I put it inside his new body. So the fabric that I found looks like this. There is no manufacturer on it, so I do not know who makes this. If you know who makes this, please tell me. This fabric is from the 70s. So I've been, for the last few years, several years, stalking eBay and finding John John fabric. I have so many of these now that I cannot, in good conscience, buy anymore. I told my husband I want to make it John John curtains for the bedroom, John John pillowcases, John John quilt for the bed. I told the girls when they get married. Well, Sarah's not going to get married because she's becoming a, missionary, Catholic missionary. But when Rachel gets married, I told her that we're going to take the John Johns and applique them around the bottom of her dress. She says no. I don't understand her. If I would have had these when I got married, they would have been at the bottom of my dress. My mom made my wedding dress. I'm sure she would have put her foot down and said no. So anyway, there are pink John Johns, and I do have one. I've given Sarah and Rachel each have a pink John John, and then one of my friend's daughter, I gave her a pink John John. So I only have one pink John John left. The pink John Johns are rare. If I find a pink John John, I buy them. This one's already been sewn, and she just hasn't been stuck yet. So basically what you do is you cut around it. You cut around it. Here's his back. This little fluffy tail. You cut around it, and then you put the pieces together. You sew it up. You turn it inside out, and then you have a John John. So I just wanted to show you how many John Johns I have. It's a sickness, people. Okay, I have them in this little box, which I'll show you next, but I just wanted to take them all out. This is really sad. Okay. Not counting these two that I just took out and showed you. Well, I'll just put them on the top. This is how many John Johns I have. I don't even know how many are here. And I've probably given about 10 John Johns away. If the house catches on fire, I run in and I grab the real John John, this fabric, and Jamie's ashes and Marty's ashes, my first greyhound. Everything else can burn. I know, I'm crazy. This is my crazy right here. And like I said, I cannot even, in good conscience, buy any more blue John Johns until these are gone. They'll never be gone. So my husband gave me this box a few years ago, and this is what I store them in. It's a bunny box. I think he got it at Ross, which is like a clearance type place. Ross or Marshall's, one of the two. Yeah, the sticker's not at the bottom anymore. But so this is where the treasury of John John bodies goes. And one last thing I want to show you is one time when I was looking on eBay and found, was finding John Johns, I found, and it has to be by the same manufacturer. And I feel bad because I've had this for a couple of years and I still haven't stuffed it. I found a John Dog. It has to be by the same people. Look at it. I mean, he's wearing a bow tie. He has a vest. You can't really see because he's sewn. He's got the tail. He's blue gingham. So I got this for my husband, and I haven't stuffed it. I really should. This should be his Christmas surprise, actually. I'm going to leave it out so I can give it to him for Christmas. John Dog. My husband, when I got it originally and gave it to him, he cracked up. So, because he likes to be mean to John John, and like, he takes John John and puts him on the ceiling fan and then turns the ceiling fan on, and John John goes flying across the room. And he like hangs it upside down inside the basketball hoop. He's mean to him. Okay, that's my crazy. My favorite thing this week is my secret stash of John John fabric, which I wish was I wish I could buy all the John Johns that I have found. I found one on Etsy too. They wanted like $15. Crazy for a piece of fabric. Okay, although John John is priceless, right? Okay, what I am watching and reading? Nothing! I am trying to catch up on podcasts. I haven't done any reading except my usual Bible study that I do. And I haven't done any reading. I haven't watched anything exciting pretty much since Halloween. Although, when Sarah was home, one of the nights that she was home, we did watch The Grapes of Wrath. And that, when I was in high school, that was my favorite book that I read when I was in high school. Love that book, The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. The movie, fantastic. Really sad, but really, really, really good. And that's it. So let's talk about charity. I did receive some items from a couple of people. And these are going to go this week to the homeless shelter. I've been collecting hats and scarves since August for the local homeless shelter. And what I have here brings me up to 86 hats and scarves. The homeless shelter is called Pinellas Hope, and it is run by the Catholic Diocese of St. Petersburg. So I want to show you, I got a hat from Diane from the Knitting Den. This is a very squishy, awesome hat. Ooh, piece of fuzz. There we go. That was my piece of fuzz, not her piece of fuzz. I don't want you to think she's sending me fuzz. And then, Sabrina Mipifufalina, love saying that, sent 4 crocheted scarves. So we have 4 awesome crocheted scarves. One that is red. And turquoise. These must have taken a long time because they're single crocheted and they're very, very dense. So they probably took quite a bit of time to make. And then a white one. And then a rustic colored one. So thank you, ladies, for sending those. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm sure the homeless will appreciate it when it starts getting colder. It is cooler here, but it's not cold yet. I think the lowest it has been at night has been like 50. So still tolerable. Okay. Oh, I did want to say, if you still have hats, you can still send them to me, and I'll make sure they get to the homeless shelter, or you can send them to Silly Fru, who is the hostess of the Sassy Pants Knitter podcast, and her Ravelry group is called SPK, and she's collecting hats for the homeless through the end of November. So if you're interested in that, you can check out her Ravelry group. It's called SPK. So I think that is it. I think I've covered pretty much everything. I thank you so much for watching. Thank you, new viewers. I know we've had some new people joining recently. I've been sending out invites, and we're over 900 members. When we get to 1,000 members, we are going to have some prizes to give away, and one of them is going to be a John John. Yes, you might be able to win your very own stuffed John John. Oh my gosh! I told my husband that this morning, and he cracked up. You wait. There's going to be like 500 people in that thread wanting a John John. You just wait. So, anyway, thank you all for watching. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you have a great week. Check out the shop update on Sunday night at sockabunnystudios.etsy.com. I'll talk to you later. Bye.